I am Beth, and welcome to 2 Kings 22:11. When the king heard the words of the law, he tore his clothes. Reading the Bible to you in a year with the Apocrypha. Today's reading will be from the letter of Jeremiah, which is part of the Apocrypha. A copy of the letter that Jeremiah sent to those who were to be taken to Babylon as exiles by the king of the Babylonians, to give them the message that God had commanded him. Because of the sins that you have committed before God, you will be taken to Babylon as exiles by Nebuchadnezzar, king of the Babylonians. Therefore, when you have come to Babylon, you will remain there for many years, for a long time, up to 7 generations. After that, I will bring you away from there in peace. Now in Babylon, you will see gods made of silver and gold and wood, which people carry on their shoulders, and which cause the heathen to fear. So beware of becoming at all like the foreigners, or of letting fear for those gods possess you when you see the multitude before and behind them, worshiping them. But say in your heart, it is you, O Lord, whom we must worship. For my angel is with you, and he is watching over your lives. Their tongues are smoothed by the carpenter, and they themselves are overlaid with gold and silver, but they are false and cannot speak. People take gold and make crowns for the heads of their gods, as they might for a girl who loves ornaments. Sometimes the priests secretly take gold and silver from their gods and spend it on themselves, or even give some of it to the prostitutes on the terrace. They deck their gods out with garments like human beings, these gods of silver and gold and wood that cannot save themselves from rust and corrosion. When they have been dressed in purple robes, their faces are wiped because of the dust from the temple, which is thick upon them. One of them holds a scepter, like a district judge, but is unable to destroy anyone who offends it. Another has a dagger in his right hand and an axe, but cannot defend itself from war and robbers. From this, it is evident that they are not gods, so do not fear them. For just as someone's dish is useless when it is broken, so are their gods when they have been set up in the temples. Their eyes are full of the dust raised by the feet of those who enter. And just as the gates are shut on every side against anyone who has offended a king, as though under sentence of death, so the priests make their temples secure with doors and locks and bars in order that they may not be plundered by robbers. They light more lamps for them than they light for themselves, though their gods can see none of them. They are just like the beam of a temple, but their hearts, it is said, are eaten away when crawling creatures from the earth devour them and their robes. They do not notice when their faces have been blackened by the smoke of the temple. Bats, swallows, and birds alight on their bodies and heads, and so do cats. From this you will know that they are not gods. So do not fear them. As for the gold that they wear for beauty, it will not shine unless someone wipes off the tarnish. For even when they were being cast, they did not feel it. They are bought without regard to cost, but there is no breath in them. Having no feet, they are carried on the shoulders of others, revealing to humankind their worthlessness. And those who serve them are put to shame, because if any of these gods falls to the ground, they themselves must pick it up. If anyone sets it upright, it cannot move itself. And if it is tipped over, it cannot straighten itself. Gifts are placed before them just as before the dead. The priests sell the sacrifices that are offered to these gods and use the money themselves. Likewise, their wives preserve some of the meat with salt, but give none to the poor or helpless. Sacrifices to them may even be touched by women in their periods or at childbirth. Since you know by these things that they are not gods, do not fear them. For how can they be called gods? Women serve meals for gods of silver and gold and wood, and in their temples the priests sit with their clothes torn, their heads and beards shaved, and their heads uncovered. They howl and shout before their gods, as some do at a funeral banquet. The priests take some of the clothing of their gods to clothe their wives and their children. Whether one does evil to them or good, they will not be able to repay it. They cannot set up a king or depose one. Likewise, they are not able to give either wealth or money. If one makes a vow to them and does not keep it, they will not require it. They cannot save anyone from death or rescue the weak from the strong. They cannot restore sight to the blind. They cannot rescue one who is in distress. They cannot take pity on a widow or do good to an orphan. These things that are made of wood and overlaid with gold and silver are like the stones from the mountains, and those who serve them will be put to shame. Why then must anyone think that they are gods or call them gods? Besides, even the Chaldeans themselves dishonor them. For when they see someone who cannot speak, they bring Bel and pray that the mute may speak, as though Bel were able to understand. Yet they themselves cannot perceive this, and abandon them, for they have no sense. And the women, with the cords around them, sit along the passageways, burning bran for incense. When one of them is led off by one of the passers-by and is taken to bed by him, she derides the woman next to her because she was not as attractive as herself, and her cord was not broken. Whatever is done for these idols is false. Why then must anyone think that they are gods or call them gods? They are made by carpenters and goldsmiths. They can be nothing but what the artisans wish them to be. Those who make them will certainly not live very long themselves. How then can things that are made by them be gods? They have left only lies and reproach for those who came after. For when war or calamity comes upon them, the priests consult together as to where they can hide themselves and their gods. How then can one fail to see that these are not gods? For they cannot save themselves from war or calamity. Since they are made of wood and overlaid with gold and silver, it will afterward be known that they are false. It will be manifest to all nations and kings that they are not gods, but the work of human hands, and that there is no work of God in them. Who then can fail to know that they are not gods? For they cannot set up a king over a country or give reign to people. They cannot judge their own cause or deliver one who is wronged. For they have no power. They are like crows between heaven and earth. When the fire breaks out in the temple of wooden gods overlaid with gold or silver, their priests will flee and escape, but the gods will be burned up like timbers. Besides, they can offer no resistance to king or enemy. Why then must anyone admit or think that they are gods? Gods made of wood and overlaid with silver and gold are unable to save themselves from thieves or robbers. Anyone who can will strip them of their gold and silver and the robes that they wear, and go off with this booty, so that they will not be able to help themselves. So it is better to be a king who shows his courage, or a household utensil that serves its owner's need, than to be these false gods. Better even the door of the house that protects its contents than these false gods. Better also a wooden pillar in a palace than these false gods. For sun and moon and stars are bright, and when sent to do service, they are obedient. So also the lightning, when it flashes, is widely seen, and the wind likewise blows in every land. When God commands the clouds to go over the whole world, they carry out his command. And the fire sent from above to consume mountains and woods does what it is ordered. But these idols are not to be compared with them in appearance or power. Therefore, one must not think that they are gods, nor call them gods, for they are not able to either decide a case or to do good to anyone. Since you know them, then, that they are not gods, do not fear them. They can neither curse nor bless kings. They cannot show signs in the heavens for the nations, or shine like the sun, or give light like the moon. The wild animals are better than they are, for they can flee to shelter and help themselves. So we have no evidence whatever that they are gods. Therefore, do not fear them. Likewise, a scarecrow in a cucumber bed, which guards nothing, so are the gods of the wood, overlaid with gold and silver. In the same way, their gods of wood, overlaid with gold and silver, are like a thorn bush in the garden on which every bird perches, or like a corpse thrown out in the darkness. From the purple and linen that rot upon them, you know that they are not gods. And they will finally be consumed themselves and will be a reproach in the land. Better, therefore, is someone upright who has no idols. Such a person will be far above reproach. Baruch, chapter 1. These are the words from the book that Baruch, son of Neriah, son of Meshashiah, son of Zedekiah, son of Hasadiah, son of Hilkiah, wrote in Babylon. In the 50th year, on the 7th day of the month, at the time when the Chaldeans took Jerusalem and burned it with fire. Baruch read the words of this book to Jeconiah, son of Joachim, king of Judah, and to all the people who came to hear the book, and to the nobles and princes, and to the elders, and to all the people, small and great, all who lived in Babylon by the river Sud. Then they wept and fasted and prayed before the Lord. They collected as much money as each could give and sent it to Jerusalem to the high priest Jehoiakim, son of Hilkiah, son of Shallum, and to the priests and to all the people who were present with him in Jerusalem. At the same time, on the 10th day of Sivan, Baruch took the vessels of the house of the Lord, which had been carried away from the temple, to return them to the land of Judah, the silver vessels that Zedekiah, son of Joash, king of Judah, had made, after Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon had carried away from Jerusalem Jeconiah and the princes and the prisoners, and the nobles and the people of the land, and brought them to Babylon. They said, "Here we send you money. So buy with money burnt offerings and sin offerings and incense, and prepare a grain offering and offer them on the altar of the Lord our God, and pray for the life of King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon and for the life of his son Belshazzar, so that their days on earth may be like the days of heaven. The Lord will give us strength and light to our eyes. We shall live under the protection of King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon and under the protection of his son Belshazzar. And we shall serve them for many days, and find favor in their sight. Pray also for us to the Lord our God, for we have sinned against the Lord our God. And to this day the anger of the Lord and his wrath have not turned away from us. And you shall read aloud this scroll that we are sending to you to make your confession in the house of the Lord on the days of the festival at appointed seasons. And you shall say, the Lord our God is in the right, but there is open shame on us today, on the people of Judah, on the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and on our kings, our rulers, our priests, our prophets, and our ancestors, because we have sinned before the Lord. We have disobeyed him, and we have not heeded the voice of the Lord our God to walk in the statutes of the Lord that he set before us. From the time when the Lord brought us out, our ancestors, out of the land of Egypt, until today, we have been disobedient to the Lord our God, and we have been negligent in not heeding his voice. So to this day, there have clung to us the calamities and the curse that the Lord declared through his servant Moses at the time when he brought our ancestors out of the land of Egypt to give us a land flowing with milk and honey. We did not listen to the voice of the Lord our God in all the words of the prophets whom he sent to us. But all of us followed the intent of our own wicked hearts by serving other gods and doing what is evil in the sight of the Lord our God. Hebrews chapter 3. Therefore, brothers and sisters, holy partners in a heavenly calling, consider that Jesus, the apostle and high priest of our confession, was faithful to the one who appointed him, just as Moses also was faithful in all God's house. Yet Jesus is worthy of more glory than Moses, just as the builder of a house has more honor than the house itself. For every house is built by someone, but the builder of all things is God. Now Moses was faithful in all God's house as a servant to testify to the things that would be spoken later. Christ, however, was faithful over God's house as a son. And we are his house if we hold firm the confidence and the pride that belong to hope. Therefore, as the Holy Spirit says, today, if you hear his voice, do not harden your hearts as in rebellion, as on the day of testing in the wilderness, where your ancestors put me to the test, though they had seen my works for 40 years. Therefore, I was angry with that generation, and I said, they always go astray in their hearts, and they have not known my ways. As in my anger I swore, they would not enter my rest. Take care, brothers and sisters, that none of you may have an evil, unbelieving heart that turns away from the living God, but exhort one another every day, as long as it is called today, so that none of you may be hardened by the deceitfulness of sin. For we have become partners of Christ, if only we hold our first confidence firm to the end. As it is said, today, if you hear his voice, do not harden your hearts, as in the rebellion. Now, who were they who heard and yet were rebellious? Was it not those who left Egypt under the leadership of Moses? But with whom was he angry for 40 years? Was it not those who sinned, whose bodies fell in the wilderness? And to whom did he swear they would not enter his rest, if not to those who were disobedient? So we see that they were unable to enter because of their unbelief. Psalm 40. I waited patiently for the Lord. He inclined to me and heard my cry. He drew me up from the desolate pit, out of the miry bog, and set my feet upon a rock, making my steps secure. He put a new song in my mouth, a song of praise to our God. Many will see and fear, and put their trust in the Lord. Happy are those who make the Lord their trust, who do not turn to the proud, to those who go astray after false gods. You have multiplied, O Lord my God, your wondrous deeds and your thoughts towards us. None can compare with you. Were I to proclaim and tell of them, they would be more than can be counted. Sacrifice and offering you do not desire, but you have given me an open ear. Burnt offering and sin offering you have not required. Then I said, here I am. In the scroll of the book, it is written of me. I delight to do your will, O my God. Your law is within my heart. I have told the glad news of deliverance in the great congregation. See, I have not restrained my lips, as you know, O Lord. I have not hidden your saving help within my heart. I have spoken of your faithfulness and your salvation. I have not concealed your steadfast love and your faithfulness from the great congregation. Do not, O Lord, withhold your mercy from me. Let your steadfast love and your faithfulness keep me safe forever. For evils have encompassed me without number. My iniquities have overtaken me until I cannot see. They are more than the hairs of my head, and my heart fails me. Be pleased, O Lord, to deliver me. O Lord, make haste to help me. Let all those be put to shame and confusion who seek to snatch away my life. Let those be turned back and brought to dishonor who desire my hurt. Let those be appalled because of their shame, who say to me, aha, aha. But may all who seek you rejoice and be glad in you. May those who love your salvation say continually, great is the Lord. As for me, I am poor and needy, but the Lord takes thought for me. You are my help and my deliverer. Do not delay, O my God. And thus ends the reading for today. Never walk alone.